was heading to and all that. I want to talk to you more, you know what I'm saying? You got a nice little thing going on, you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about, yo.
You're just such a sweet talker.
In 2004, I was at my church, and a guy started sharing about children being sold as sex slaves, and I was like, what? Are you kidding? No, not slavery now. You know, I have the mentality of everybody. It stopped with the Emancipation Proclamation.
A lot of people, the misconception, if they know about sex trafficking, it's something that they think that only happens and takes place in third world countries, you know, like Thailand or Cambodia or somewhere, but it's actually happening right here in America, in DFW, in our own backyards. The organization Traffic #1, their mission is to end modern day slavery. They're an anti-human trafficking organization, but they specifically focus on domestic minor sex trafficking.
Here's typical. Sexually abused as a very young girl. Broken family. Parents divorced. CPS had to get into it. So now she's living with not grandparents, great-grandparents. When girls are abused, they start fracturing. They don't grow emotionally in a healthy way.
When I was in the military, I was sexually assaulted. It took a long time took a lot of therapy sessions and everything to kind of accept that, you know, it's not my fault. You know, like what he did is not okay.
And if you think about a girl who's raped one time and how much counseling and therapy she needs to get healed, and these girls have been raped every night by different men 5 to 10 times a night. How much healing that girl needs, you know, it's intense.
Yeah, and a lot of them, they, you know, if they're forced in, they'll try whatever they can to break them down emotionally and physically, and then to where they are too afraid to try to escape or to speak out against their perpetrator. And they are, a lot of the times, they are locked in dog cages. There was a girl, one of her friends had came over and she met her outside. The girl showed up with 2 men, and her best friend, I guess, shoved her in the vehicle, and they drove off with her. And the police, when they showed up, they got some tips and they found out where she was at. They found her shoved in a dresser drawer underneath, or I guess it was a drawer underneath the bed. And that's where they had been hiding her. Like, that's where she had to live when she wasn't out making money for them.
To me, there's a bigger picture. You know, slavery is happening because people are broken, because parents aren't parenting their children, because men are broken and they're looking for love in all the wrong places. And this is how it plays out. A young girl is on the street. Well, pimps, this is an organization, this is a business, and they've got these boys trained. Here's this vulnerable girl on the street. She's just hanging. And a guy comes by. Oh, girl, you're beautiful. What, do you need some help? You want me to go get you a burger or something? And do you need a place to stay? She's so broken. She's already been sexually abused, so having sex is not a big deal. But this time it's out of quote-unquote love. He's getting her nails done. She's getting her hair done. All her dreams come true. After a couple of weeks, oh, you know how I've been like giving you all these gifts and taking you out to eat and da-da-da-da-da? Well, these guys are saying they're going to kill me if I don't come up with like $200 tonight. But I have a friend that says if you'll sleep with him, he'll give me $200. You've already been doing it with me. It's not a big deal. You just go ahead. But, you know, she's young. She's vulnerable. She doesn't understand what's about to hit her. The first time a girl has to do that, shame, they're totally confused. But because this guy has made an emotional bond with her, making her believe he loves her, she's willing to do anything for this guy. This is the first time she's been validated her whole life.
I had to talk to the sergeant major, and They basically blamed me. They were like, you're a female, it's your fault. From what I hear, you were wearing provocative clothing. And he didn't use the word provocative, he said slutty, and I was in a t-shirt, jeans, and Converse. So basically after that happened, they did anything and everything they could to just kind of sweep it under the rug. They wanted to act like it never happened. I had absolutely no support. My friends, you know, the people that knew me believed me, but everyone else, like, they basically were like, oh, you just had a threesome and you're a slut and you wanted to call rape.
A big part of it is the media. I just spoke to teenagers last week and I asked them to think about these words. So I threw out the word slave, slave master. What kind of emotions come up? You know, and of course it was, they had compassion on the slave, they had anger towards the slave master. Okay, prostitute. Well, if they're not choosing to do it, then I feel really bad. Okay, pimp. They laughed. They laughed at the word pimp. Oh, well, pimp is just a guy that has a lot of money and he's cool and he's slick. Think about, okay, the money that this guy gets. How's he getting that money? Who is educating boys about valuing a woman instead of seeing her as a commodity? Who is helping these girls not surf the internet? Because that's where girls are being sucked in. People don't realize that, I mean, there's so many things that can be done. If they like to research on the computer, they can give me a couple of hours a month, you know, just to count how many ads there are this weekend. That we're trying to build a database so that we can show the government that there is a need. Like, we're building these relationships and then they're slowly talking about, well, yeah, there's a 13-year-old down the street being sold. We believe one day, because of these type of outreaches, they won't have to be, you know, missing online. We'll just start rescuing them. Thankfully, I have testimonies of pimps who have been converted, who have been set free. Thankfully. And then I have my precious woman who's been prostituting for 20 years and now she's totally set free and on the journey of freedom. She's such an inspiration to me. I don't lose hope for these girls that are constantly going back and going back because they're trapped, because this lady kept going back. She felt trapped, and there's hope.
Whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, I went back to school at UTA, and I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to let this negative situation that happened to me affect me for the rest of my life. I'm going to turn a negative situation into something positive. So, and I decided that that's when I wanted to help other victims of rape, because I was no longer a victim. Like, I'm now a survivor, I guess.